Hello. Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. I am live on both YouTube and TikTok. Sorry, that was a total brain hiccup there. Um, but I just wanted to hop on and I've gotten so many messages of people asking me why I left network marketing and how I did it and all that. And to be honest, I don't think I'm ready to go into super deep detail at this point. However, I am ready to talk about it to some extent. So, go ahead and share this out to whoever you think needs to hear it. And if you guys are not subscribed to my YouTube, please do so. It's linked in my bio. So, I just have to put chapstick and mascara on, and then we are good to go. This has been a long journey, and I apologize, YouTube. You guys can see my huge mess in the background. I am working on cleaning out my office and totally changing it, okay? So, a lot of you, well, maybe not because these are two newer platforms for me, but I guess I'll start from the very beginning, okay? I am the mom of two teens, and they are 17 and 19. I am also a wife to a construction foreman, and we live in Connecticut. So, hello. Nice to meet you all. So for those of you that don't know me, I am a Spoonie, aka chronic illness warrior. And for those of you that don't know what that means, it's pretty much just that. I'm a chronic illness warrior, okay? And we will talk about Spoonies another day. I actually do have a TikTok about that though, so you guys can go look that up if you would like. And I just smeared mascara all under my eye. But I got into the network marketing field. Gosh, my daughter I don't even think she was born yet. And this is when we were living further away from my family and all that sort of stuff. And I was actually fairly successful in one direct sales company. And I actually left. I believe I left when we were moving. Don't hold me to that, you guys. Everything gets a little blurry. And I did the Tupperware thing. I did all these things. And I was, like I said, I was fairly successful in my first two or three MLMs. Not enough to support my family, but I knew I could not go back to work because I had gotten all these illnesses or syndromes while I was pregnant with my kids, okay? And now when I say I first joined these, it was probably 18 years ago, okay? And I quickly fizzled out of the ones I did back then. So by the time 2008 rolled around, when we moved up here, I had not been doing them for a few years. And, I had my two kids and I moved back up here and I just felt lost. Okay. Because if you have ever been a stay at home parent, like your identity kind of gets lost sometimes, right? And I just was I needed this socialization. I needed all this stuff. So I started looking back into it and I joined another jewelry company because I was successful in my first one and then that company closed. So many of you will probably know what company that is. And I may be jumping all over on the timeline because I don't have this written out and time kind of blends together, right? The older we get, time blends together. So when I moved back up here and I had joined another jewelry one, well, come to find out that jewelry was not good and it was super expensive and all the things. Anyway, and then I had tried a bunch, literally a bunch. And then I took a few years off again. And part of that was because I was going through some personal stuff and I just needed time. I just needed time away, right? And then I met my current husband and we were living together, and I am disabled. Okay. And this is something I kind of want to talk about more in depth at another point, but I am disabled, due to my chronic health issues. And I didn't really have a big income coming in. Okay. I did not have a big income coming in. And I don't know about you guys, and I am not saying that there's anything wrong with government assistance whatsoever. But for me, it wasn't what I wanted, because before I got sick, I had amazing jobs and amazing friends. And in this time period, a lot of my friends picked up and moved down south or out west. Okay. And thank you. And then from there, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I need to do something for me. So I went back and I looked at a bunch of different network marketing companies again. And my first real one, which is what I'm going to say, because that was when I really came back and wanted to do this full force. I spent way more money than I made. Okay. They wanted, you had to have auto ship on and you had to pay for their app and all this sort of stuff. I did not want to do that, but I did it for, I want to say, close to 2 years. Okay. Give or take 6 months. And I just was not getting the leadership that I thought I needed. Okay. I always thought I needed more. Okay. And it wasn't anything about, actually, that was my son right there. It wasn't about necessarily the money. I mean, that definitely played into it, but I was spending more than I was making. I wasn't getting the leadership. I was getting frustrated. I was taught to cold message people, which felt totally inauthentic to me. Okay. It just did not feel authentic to me. And then, everything was about recruiting, recruit, recruit, recruit. And I get that's how you build a network marketing business, and I just wasn't happy with it. So I then moved on to a CBD company, and their compensation plan was junk, just total junk. And then I moved on to another health and wellness company, and I'm sure there's things in between that I'm forgetting. Okay. I moved on to, oh no, between the CBD and the health and wellness company, I was selling makeup and skincare. Now, I still use those products because I have a bunch of them. Okay, that's why a lot of times you guys will see me using it, because I'm not going to go spend more money, because again, I spent more than I made. And I know there's going to be people that come on here and say, well, that's you, that was on you. It was and it wasn't. Okay, I had to have a monthly subscription, I had to do this, I had to do that. So then another network marketing company, health and wellness related, came around, and they promised me an income, like a decent income. Well, when they promised it to me, they said they would help me build a team. They would give people to me and put them under me. Okay. That didn't happen. And then after really sitting down, deciphering their compensation plan, and now this is my fault because I should have done it earlier. Okay. I should have done it before I joined, but I had people that I thought were my friends telling me, no, Jen, you don't understand. This is the way to go. Well, then I sat down and I really looked at that compensation plan, and you guys, what crap. Okay. And I'm just going to give an example, and don't hold me to these exact numbers because I don't remember the numbers exactly, but it was something like, if you were trying to reach the next goal, and say that was 50,000 points. Now, points aren't necessarily dollars. Dollars are worth more than the points. Okay. So, or say for every, and again, I don't know, but say for every $125, it's like 100 points. Okay. And if you were reaching for like the 50,000 mark in points, but you didn't hit it, and the one below that was 35,000 points, you didn't get paid for those points between the 35 and the 50,000, which not good, right? So I was pretty much working for free, and their products weren't really working for me. So on to the next, right? And I was in a pre-launch phase with another CBD well, I guess they're CBD and health and wellness stuff, and they were in pre-launch, like I said. Then we had issues, like we were supposed to launch, I don't know the exact dates, but say August 1st. We didn't end up launching until like August 30th or something. It was crazy. Or maybe it was only 2 weeks, but it felt like forever because I had customers waiting to order their products. I had people waiting to join the business with me. And it just kept getting delayed. It kept getting delayed. Then they come to find out how much their products actually cost was really, really expensive. I can go to a dispensary and get them for close to half price, and just wasn't working. Okay, it wasn't working for me, but I was excited because we were still in pre launch. And I get when you're in pre launch phases, stuff is going to happen. Just like if you were to start up a brick and mortar business, stuff is going to happen. Life happens, the phone doesn't get turned on at the right date or whatever. Okay. Um, but in the meantime, I had started drinking these ketones because my doctor had recommended them for energy for me. Okay. He had recommended them for energy because that's what his daughter was drinking. And she was feeling amazing. And she has one similar disease to me. I said, you know what? At this point, I've spent thousands, like literally hundreds of thousands of dollars on my health. And I have spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars, which makes me super sick to even say, in network marketing companies. And I started drinking these ketones and I really was drawn. They're very magnetic. This team that I was on was very, very magnetic. I was drawn to them. Not necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing, okay? And again, everything I say in these videos are my opinion and or my personal experience. And I'm being very vague with you guys because I don't remember the dates or the exact orders, okay? I will one of these days really sit down and write them all out and do a video on a YouTube video on my entire experience, and then edit it and go from there. So, my friends were like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Drinking these ketones." They were like, "Well, where can I get them?" I was like, "Oh man, this could be potentially a gold mine for me, right?" And the leader that was just above my leader is a multimillionaire. Okay. She claims she made a huge chunk of her money, and she still does, from network marketing. Um, but she also owned traditional businesses or franchises as well. So I don't really, to be honest, I don't really know. I'm not doubting her, but I'm not confirming it either. Okay. So from there, we went and I started selling. Now, this was December of 2019. I had been drinking the drinks for like 3, 4 weeks. So in December of 2019, I joined. December of 2019. Hold on. No, that's not right. December of 2020, I joined. Okay. So next month would have been my 2-year anniversary because if you were watching this on the replay on YouTube, it is November 14th, 2022. So from there, I dove right in. Okay. I went in with the biggest pack. I went in with all this stuff. And every time a new flavor would come out, I would buy a box. And we were encouraged to purchase under a ghost account, which is something I will talk to you guys about later. But things were just, in the beginning, it was like, wow, Jen sold a bunch right off the bat. Well, then it fizzled out very quickly. But we were encouraged, if you couldn't be on every training, well, then you weren't dedicated enough. And those words were never necessarily used, but it was how I personally felt and how I believe I was made to feel. Okay. Again, personal opinion. And then my leader, once I really joined and was on trainings and on all this, she mentioned how half of her team had walked away a year previous because she was not a good leader. She was very red, which means very aggressive. And it just did not. I was like, oh. Okay, but maybe she learned her lesson, right? And then she was very good for a little bit, and she has very good tactics, okay? And I mean that in the sweetest way. She's amazing on social media, amazing. And she is directly below supposedly the number one network marketer in the world. So that was a huge brag, right? Oh, I can say I'm with this number one network marketer in the world. Um, not so much the case. Not so much the case. She could be number one in the world. I don't know. I don't know who decided this or if it's on a report somewhere. And she is very motivational and very magnetic. However, in my opinion, there was an agenda. It's a business. She's not going to do it if it's not going to make her money, and rightfully so. Rightfully so, but that was never discussed. But in the meantime, more flavors were coming out. I was buying more. And then let's fast forward to, when was it? I don't know exactly, but I want to say late spring, early summer of this year. My leader, her dog got sick, so my heart goes out to her. But she was teaching us to do very cringy things, okay? So her dog got sick, and she dumped, and I am no position to talk. I love my cat like there's no tomorrow. I have spent a lot of money on my dogs in the past, but she spent a lot on her dog to try to keep her alive. Totally get it. But she used a good chunk of her wedding budget to do so. And this is what she said. This is not me just guessing. She said she was using a huge chunk of her wedding budget to do so. And she just all of a sudden then was creating like a clothing line for recovering addicts, which again, not a problem, but you're not showing up for the business that you are running. So why are you going and adding more ventures to your stuff? These people rely on you because you told us to. You told us you would always be there, right? And again, life happens. You need money. You're going to do what you have to do. I totally understand where she was coming from. But as a part of the team, I'm telling you guys how it looked from my point of view. And she was teaching us things like take screenshots of your back office and put them in your stories and, mention, that you need 10 new customers and 3 recruits. And that started to feel very inauthentic to me. In the meantime, we were also being trained, in my opinion, to cold message people. Now, everybody has a different status for cold messaging, okay? Some people think it's not cold messaging if people have sent you a friend request. Some people think it's not cold messaging if you have ever had at least one interaction with this person, like they like to post or whatever. To me, that felt very inauthentic. Very, very inauthentic. And I was still kind of going along with it. I had, hey, is that, no, that's not you, Joey. So anyway, we kept going, and I was just like, I was not feeling good. I couldn't always show up for meetings. I have a gazillion doctor's appointments. Anybody that knows me and has ever been to my house, at any given time, I spend probably 25 to 35 hours a week, if not more, dealing with doctors, being at doctor's appointments, doing my treatments, going to the CVS, whatever. Okay. My health takes up a huge chunk of time. And then, I was kind of looked down upon. Nothing was ever really said, but I could tell, and maybe I was just reading into it too much, but I don't think so, that, I was disappointing these people because I couldn't show up all the time. However, I was so dedicated, I would go back and watch the replays of all these trainings. I would. And it just, and I found myself constantly on the phone, like not talking, but I would be like this. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's your prom day. Oh, okay. I missed out on a lot of things. Now that is no one else's fault but my own. I am not blaming it on anyone. I knew better, but I was so enamored that I was going to get praise from them. I was going to meet goals. I was going. Now, I can't make income claims. I can't, okay? However, I can tell you that I spent way, way more than I made, like way more. Um, and then, you know, my upline got married and I think it was late August, early September. Um, there was never, and all of a sudden then team training stopped because we used to have a small team training for like my direct upline, and then we would have a big one for the whole entire team. And all of a sudden, my direct upline stopped doing trainings. She had already fizzled out a lot because she was doing 2 a week, sometimes 3, and then it went down to like almost nothing. Then it was once a week and once a month for our frontline training. And then frontline would get canceled because she had to do stuff with the dogs and she had to do wedding stuff. Again, all very valid reasons. And I don't blame her. But at the same time, you need to make it up or maybe pre record the training or whatever the case may be and just go with it. But I am the type of person that if I don't stay connected to people, it just fizzles out for me. It does. And I would try and I would try, I would reach out and we were very much so coached on what to do on social media. A lot of it felt very inauthentic to me, but I'm like, these people are building 6-figure businesses every year. They got to know what they're doing. And it just didn't feel authentic to me. It really did not. And then, then the company came out with this whole new like relaunch your business. But to relaunch your business, you had to buy a kit that it was less than $1,000, but it was way more. It's more than $500. Okay. And why am I going to relaunch to earn double bonuses when I can't earn a basic bonus now? And it was not for lack of me trying. It really wasn't. And that kind of put a yucky taste in my mouth, right? And I was told if you don't go to events, you're not taking your business seriously. Okay, well, when my doctor doesn't want me to go more than 2 hours away, and we're in the height of a global pandemic, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do in that situation? I don't know what to do. And I never went to one. I would attend online when possible, but the same leaders that were saying things to me like you need to be in attendance for, more team things. At the same point, they were not going to these events, okay? Or they would go to the select few. And it wasn't, I was getting a very yucky feeling. And I sat down and I actually ended up, I shouldn't even say this. I actually ended up on the anti-MLM side of YouTube. And when you're little, hear me out on this. When you're little or even especially teenage years, right? Your parent or your sibling or whatever can tell you something time and time again and you're like, yeah, whatever. But then when you hear it from an outside source, maybe your aunt comes in and says something, you're like, oh, smack. I need to fix that situation, right? So I sat down again, really looked at Pruvit's. I knew their compensation plan, but I did not really read their income disclosure when I first joined. And I was like, After reading that, I was like, oh, okay then. Okay. I see where I am on the totem pole. And it was not in a good spot. Okay. And I didn't want to say anything to my husband because my husband was mad. My husband's been mad for a few years that I'm spending so much time and so much money doing these MLM network direct sales businesses. And, in the meantime, I was coached to get rid of a huge chunk of my following. a huge chunk. I had over 14,000 followers on my Instagram. I had over 14,000 followers on my TikTok. I was told to start new ones and delete. Originally, it was get rid of a lot of followers on my old Instagram. Hey, DZ. Thank you. And then silly me, I listened. I knew better. My gut was telling me, Jen, don't do this. And do you know how hard it is not to just manage a YouTube account, an Instagram account, a Facebook account, a Twitter account, a TikTok account? Well, double all those. They wanted me to have two of at least Instagram and TikTok. It's not easy. It's not. And I am home a good chunk of the day. So I put a lot of thought into it, okay? And I started overthinking things, and it just was a really awkward situation. And I didn't want to give up because I don't want to be the failure. I wanted to prove my husband wrong and everybody in my life wrong that said, you can't do this. This is not opportune. It's just not doable. Well, I was doing a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching, a lot of journaling. I'm gonna get emotional, and I don't mean to. I am normally not an emotional person. Um, but Monday, this past Monday, so a week ago today, my husband was working 2 hours away. 2 hours away. And like I said, he's a labor foreman. He's outside all day, all night. And I knew he had a really long day, but when he called me to tell me he was on his way home, I was like, you know what? I need to tell him. I need to talk to him because I needed to get this out. But I didn't want to tell him when I was on the phone. But I knew if I waited till he got home, I would back out. So by me opening up and saying, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something when you get home," was my way of sticking to my guns, right? Because he was going to hold me accountable at that point. He's like, "Well, what is it?" And I said, "It's not bad. It's not good. It's just something I need to talk to you about when you get home." I think I gave him a little bit of a panic attack. Just a little bit. And I'm not really a panic attack. But you guys know I'm making light of it and I should not, but I am. And he got home and he sat on the couch before he even showered. Now, he normally does his time, like sends his time to the company when he gets home, showers, we eat, and then we talk. Well, he knew there was something up. And I was like, so I've been thinking. And he was like, what? I said, I think I'm going to get my LLC and I'm going to kind of wean my way out of MLMs. Just kind of wean them away. Now, keep in mind, this was just a week ago. Okay. Just a week ago. And he was like, really? I was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, why are you staying at all? Why are you staying? And I gave him a BS answer. I said, well, I have customers and stuff that rely on me. And, I like the trainings. And then I'm thinking to myself, as these words are coming out of my mouth, we don't have half the trainings we used to have. But okay. And I was scared. I didn't want to be the girl that quit again. I didn't want to be a failure. I didn't want to let my kids down. My son wants to start his own landscaping business. What kind of role model am I if I threw in the towel again? Well, we've always been told it's a teamly, aka team/family in this company or on this team. And we're going to back it up another week. I text my leader and said, I can't make it to a meeting. And I gave her the reason. And it wasn't for me. It was something I had to do for one of my kids with a doctor's. Actually, I can say this. I had to bring one of my kids to the doctors. Yes, they are as of driving age, but I needed to be there. And I got shunned, pretty much, is the way I look at it. Whether it was intentional or not, but because I had to cancel that meeting, it was horrible. But other people don't show up to stuff, and that, including big leaders, and that was okay. And so I talked to Matt on Monday. Tuesday, I started doing some more research. And I'm not telling you guys to go down the rabbit hole on anti-MLM pages. I'm not. If you want to, by all means, go for it. But do your research, okay? Really, really, please, people, look at your income disclosure statements. And from there, Tuesday rolled around and I felt like this really funny feeling in my stomach. And I had said to my husband, I was like, listen, I'm going to call the attorney. We do have an attorney on retainer because it's part of his benefits. And I am going to talk to my cousin, who is our CPA, and try to get my LLC set up. And I have questions for our cousin, as far as what I can still write off if I have an LLC and I'm just doing social media influencing or affiliate marketing or UCG or whatever you want to call it. And so I got the answers I needed and I found out how much it costs to do an LLC. And I was like, huh, okay. So then I was happy. It's, what, LLCs, you can get your tax number within like 24 hours if you do it the right way. And I was like, oh, I was thinking it was going to be like a 2 or 3 month process. So originally my plan was to at least stick it out till the first of the year. And when I found all this out, I was like, ooh, okay. I journaled about it. I reached out to a few companies, one of which I have a huge meeting with tomorrow. So I'm super excited. And then Wednesday came around and I hopped on the big team training I was saying. And they told us pretty much stop pushing the product and you just need to worry about the opportunity. You don't need to worry anything about the product. Excuse me? How am I supposed to sell this opportunity to others when I'm making nothing? I shouldn't say nothing. I was making very minimal amounts. Very, very minimal amounts. And I cannot say that stuff because FTC guidelines. But I can tell you it was not even enough to fill the gas tank in my truck. Okay. And it just, especially my truck, I have a big truck. Okay. And then I have a car too. So these things just weren't, it felt very inauthentic. And then something was said on the training that really got to me. And it was pretty much like, if you have kids and you aren't doing this, you don't care about your kids. You're never going to try to better their lives. Again, I am paraphrasing, and this is how I read what was said, or how I interpreted what was said in my opinion. Okay. And it just hurt. It really freaking hurt. So I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I was in frustration mode, like big time. So I was thinking about it. And I talked to someone else that was in a similar situation close to a year ago. And she's like, well, you know what I think? And I said, I do. I said, and I also know what I think. And I think it's the same thing as what you think. And she's like, do you know how to resign? And I was like, I just need the email address, which was just the support. There's not even a separate email address for customers versus promoters, which I don't understand. And I was like, okay. And wouldn't you know, I went ahead and I put my resignation in. And then part of me wanted to text my upline and tell her, you know what, I resigned. I knew she would get a notification in her app that said, canceled or whatever. But I felt like I've just always been the type that I'm going to give you my resignation on paper. I'm going to thank my boss, whether I agree with her tactics or not, even when I had a 9-to-5 job. So I'm not going to read her responses. However, I am going to tell you exactly what I said, because I think what I said was very, very professional. I said, hello, I just want to let you know I emailed my resignation to support. I really appreciate all I have learned and the relationships I have made. I just don't think network marketing is for me. Again, thank you for all I have learned from you in this experience. And she responded and pretty much said, well, it says a lot to me, or, obviously you don't want to be talked out of this if you already emailed your resignation before talking to me. So I woke up. Matt came home Friday. I told him I did it. He was like, really? I was like, yes. Yeah. So that was Friday. So ever since then, I've been cleaning out my office. I don't even know. You guys probably can't see the amount of garbage behind me. I've been cleaning out my office. I contacted my customers to let them know I am no longer affiliated with this company and I will not be doing network marketing. And I received so many messages in my inbox and I appreciate all of them. And I also appreciate the people from other companies reaching out to ask me to join their teams. It's just network marketing at this point in my life is just not for me. I love the concept of network marketing, but it's a broken system, in my opinion. I said what I said. So, with that being said, I am going to hop off of here because I'm starting to get emotional. But this morning I was super emotional, but today it's like emotional in a good way. It's a very good emotion. So I'm just getting all of it, all my feelings out there. And then you guys stay tuned because there's some really big stuff coming. So I'm super excited for that. And I hope everybody has an amazing day, an amazing week, an amazing month. But this one last thing is I was challenged to do, well, first I challenged myself to 30 days of lives. Then the team challenged us to another 90 days on top of that because we were all going to do it in the same time period. So that would have been 120 days. So I did that. And my husband was like, let's see if you can go for a full year. So I told all my followers I would be going live on at least one platform every day for a year. And here we are. That was November 29th of last year. So I can tell you exactly how many days. And my stomach is growling, guys. So I apologize if you can hear it. Today is day 350. So I have 15 more days, but I will still finish this even though I am not with a network marketing company because I feel I made this promise to you guys and to myself. I am going to keep it. So everyone have a nice, safe night, and I will talk to you all later.